Hi everyone, my name is Jory Edwards. I'm the creator of Freedom for Canada, and I just wanted to go over some gun myths and facts. Our first one. You don't need a high capacity assault rifle or machine gun to hunt a deer. I agree with you. This is an AR-15 magazine. I do not own an AR-15, but I do own a rifle that can use the same magazines. Now the legal limit in Canada is 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 4 again because that one came out. 5. If you try to put any more than that in, it's actually not possible. Every magazine that is made for a semi-automatic rifle in Canada can only hold a maximum of 5 rounds. Calling them high capacity just doesn't make you look very good. Moving on to gun myth number 2, the assault rifle. The AR-15 is an assault rifle. We hear that all the time, but it's factually incorrect. It is a semi-automatic rifle, which means that with its 5-round magazines, every time you pull the trigger it shoots once. You have to reset, shoot again, reset, and shoot again. If it were to be an assault rifle, you'd be able to switch it to a mode with its little fire select switch to fully automatic, which means you would pull the trigger once and it would keep shooting and shooting and shooting until it ran out of ammo. That's been illegal in Canada since the 70s, and they just don't exist. They're completely prohibited. If you've ever seen or heard of one inside Canada, it's either military, law enforcement, or illegally smuggled. There are no other options. Civilians cannot own them, period. Fact 3 and the OIC. Bill Blair is often quoted saying that this order in council will not affect sport shooters, hunters, or competitors whatsoever. Well, it's completely ridiculous to say that because even police, for example, are no longer allowed to use their civilian model AR-15s for target shooting or practice, which hurts the police, it hurts R.C.M.P, and it hurts everybody. But since the AR-15 is actually restricted, you weren't allowed to hunt with that anyways. A good example, though, would be the Robinson Arms XCR. I personally know an individual that owns that rifle, and I've shot it a couple times with him, and it would have been a great deer rifle for him, but it is now banned. I've actually talked with a couple of people within the group that have told me that they were using that specific rifle, and now they no longer can. To drive the point forward, or home really, the OIC actually excludes First Nations for 2 years. They are allowed to continue hunting with any firearm that was banned by the OIC until a reasonable or suitable replacement can be found after those 2 years. So if we're going to say that we're not affecting hunters, but allow First Nations to continue to hunt with those exact rifles, there's a gigantic gaping flaw in it right off the bat. You're in fact admitting that this is affecting hunters, but we're going to just only let it affect most hunters and not some. One thing that's really important to point out is that police and even the R.C.M.P. just last year were completely against a ban of this type. The reason being is that they're quoted saying that most crime guns are smuggled in from the States, almost 100% of them. We have multiple police officers and even the associations of chief of police coming forward and saying, hey, this ban will be ineffective. I'm going to list, or rather I'm going to insert a little video clip that will show you what I'm talking about.
So the city councilor is calling for a national handgun ban. Could we just get your thoughts?
I can tell you that the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police have indicated that that won't make any difference. When we seize handguns, the handguns are always, almost 100%, in the possession of people who have no legal right to possess them. They're almost always stolen or illegally obtained. I simply don't see, as a 27-year veteran, how adding another layer of law will make any difference anywhere in this country. When we stop somebody in this city, and police do this every single day, and they have a handgun, somehow saying that this jurisdiction, that Winnipeg is handgun free, and I'll use air quotes, is going to make it safer or easy for us is just nonsense. It won't make any difference whatsoever. There are handguns all over, they're all illegal, and they're in the hands of criminals. criminals, and that the people that legitimately own them, they're in safes and being taken to gun clubs. The two sections don't intersect. So if someone owns a gun legitimately and it's stolen and it's brought into Winnipeg, somebody saying, well, it's illegal to have that gun in Winnipeg, is just another layer of, and I guess it might make some people feel good, but it will not change the threat level one iota.
Now, that's not the only video that I could post. Bill Blair himself actually came out before when he was a police officer and stated almost the exact same thing. So why are they doing this ban? Unfortunately, it is just to give people a false sense of security and make it look like the Liberals are promising something and carrying through with it. That is a huge issue, because if anyone else used an order in council for anything else, it would be the biggest, as it is, disrespect to democracy that Canada would ever see. And at the end of the day, if this was going to stop crime, I would be absolutely for it. If it was going to save lives, I would be absolutely for it. If destroying my guns that I personally own would save lives, I would absolutely be for it. But unfortunately, it's just not true. So what the Liberals have promised, unfortunately, is to spend $600 million to $1 billion on a gun buyback. Well, they didn't technically own the guns in the first place, so buyback isn't really fair to say. And on top of that, they've promised only $17 million to border security and increasing our chances of finding these illegal smuggled guns. Imagine if you reverse that. Imagine, let's just say for a moment, that we took $17 million and we bought guns that for some reason we thought were dangerous. We got them off the street. But we spent $600 million to $1 billion on the borders. Imagine how much more of an impact that would actually have. Imagine if we focused on crime and the actual problems that are creating homicide, like drugs or a social degradation because of poverty or anything like it. These are the things that we have to consider. These are the things that we absolutely must tackle. One thing that really bothers me about this as well is Marwan Tabara is a Liberal MP who was actually quoted in one of his emails saying, "We knew we would not get enough unanimous support in the House of Commons, and we couldn't wait any longer, so we used an order in council." That is ridiculous. You knew you wouldn't get the support because you were lying. You knew you wouldn't get the support because it wasn't based on facts. And also, he just got charged with 2 counts of assault, harassment, and breaking an entry. I'm not one to rag on people, but do you really think that somebody like that should be choosing the laws for firearms in Canada, especially considering law-abiding firearms owners in Canada are the most law-abiding people in the country? This is something that has been recorded and documented for many, many years. I have 0 criminal history. I have no criminal record whatsoever. And in fact, the R.C.M.P. actually do a daily check on every single firearms owner. Every single day they have this automated system that checks to make sure you have been behaving, you haven't done anything criminal or violent. If you do, instantly you're banned from owning guns. They come and they take your firearms license, they take your guns, game over. So this is actually a great system. It's something that I agree with, because if I, for whatever reason, was to go commit a violent crime, or I'm involved in theft, or I'm doing something ridiculous like that, I'm going to lose my guns, I'm going to lose my privilege to owning firearms, and I lose the license, bam, it's over. That's a great system. So why are we trying to fix something by banning something that isn't the problem? Banning guns that have never been used in crime does not make sense. Let's focus on the borders. Let's focus on things that will actually make a difference. For some of my final points, for those of you that are saying that we only need 1 round when we're hunting, realistically, in a perfect scenario, you're not wrong. We could just shoot the deer with 1 bullet and be done with it. But you're forgetting to account for the fact that there's wind, there's sunlight, something could get in your eye, you could spook the animal, you could get spooked yourself and miss a shot. If you don't kill it with that 1 bullet that you're trying to say that is all you need, that animal could run for 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers before it dies, which is just absolutely ridiculous to think that that would be okay. It's not. You need to be able to take down that animal quickly, and mistakes do happen. Another thing that I have to point out is if I'm out hunting I'm not the only thing that is. Now, just for comparison, I want to show you again, this is a 223 round. This is a 7mm Magnum round. This is what I would use personally if I was hunting a bear or something like that. And the reason that I'm showing you this is I have a friend named Gio Romano. He went out hunting with another friend, and he was looking for bear, and he ended up finding 2 of them. As one of the bears was reaching up to eat something, I don't know if it was berries or whatever, he took a shot and he hit it right in the head. He says you could see the skin kind of go up, and you could clearly see that he hit this bear right in the center of its skull. Bam, perfect shot. His friend said, "Good shot, Gio. Oh, that was amazing. We're going to go get that bear right now." And Gio grabbed him and said, "No, no, no, no. I don't trust it. We're going to wait." And every hunter knows you should wait at least 30 minutes before you go and approach an animal, even if it's a deer. Any animal could hurt you, and it could even kill you. And when you're out in the middle of nowhere, especially by yourself, you cannot take risks. You gotta wait. So Gio did what he's supposed to, and he waited. After about 15 minutes, the bear got up. The bear got up, it shook its head, it grunted wildly, and it started to run off. Imagine if he had that one bullet, and he walked straight up to that bear thinking that it was done, it was over, the hunt had been successful. Imagine. And imagine if he was by himself. It's ridiculous. You're not the only thing out there with the ability to kill. Of course you're a hunter. Of course you know what you're doing. Of course you are prepared. But you have to be prepared for the fact that you're not always 100% prepared. Anything could go wrong. Also, if you're out hunting a deer, who's to say that a pack of wolves isn't hunting it too? And personally, I don't think this one shot is going to cut it.